I think we all see by now how impressive Jrue Holiday has been defensively in these playoffs. Now, these techniques are just a very small piece of what makes him elite on this end of the ball, but they're all keys that you can take and apply to your defensive toolbox. So let's check them out. So number one is just anticipation. Especially at such high levels, it's tough to rely on reacting to players. You've got to be one step ahead to really hold your own defensively. And you'll see him do this in a number of ways. Whether it's picking up on where a player is going and beating them to that spot, positioning himself perfectly and having his hands ready to disrupt and pick off passes, and even on closeout, he'll be in the air before the shooter because he knows that they're going to shoot. Or the opposite, that they're not going to shoot, and he picks up on this and stays grounded. These aren't reactions most of the time, they're anticipations. Now, to work on anticipation, we need a lot of experience, and we can put ourselves in position to do just that. So check out the Mastery Hoops platform if you're interested in a few ways to do that. Anyways, with anticipation inherently comes getting beat. Especially playing against some of the best players in the world, you're going to guess wrong sometimes. So what may be even more important than his anticipation is his ability to recover. Even if he gets beat and he's way out of that ideal position, he's always able to get back in the play and challenge the shot or even turn the ball handler over. I also notice how physical he is with ball screens. On pretty much every single screen, he steps up and closes that airspace as the screen approaches. Because this point right here is the critical point. By getting a bit physical, if you're able to sneak in that space between the ball handler and the screen, it sets you up for success the rest of the play. Even if you don't stay in front or get back fully in front, just being on that hip can force errors and cause some discomfort for that ball handler, especially if you've already set that physical tone. Or worst case, you get hit by that screen, but that ball handler doesn't get a clean path around it. And one little trick as to how he initiates this physicality is by being very hands-on and keeping one hand locked in on the ball handler as long as possible. So let's rewind this clip and just watch his hands. He's tracking that ball handler and keeping that kind of light touch alive. So to me, this does a couple things. One, it gives him a sense of being within arm's length of the ball handler. If he's able to have that hand right at the ball handler's hip, he knows he's at a pretty good distance from them. On the other side of that matchup, it gives the ball handler the feeling of him being there. It's pretty much a psychological thing. They can feel his hand attached, so they know they're being hawked down. And if an opportunity to steal it arises, of course his hand is already there. And circling back to the screens a bit, notice how he kind of sneaks through these screens by getting what I call skinny, or standing up and getting as narrow as possible. He starts low to create that contact, then as he sees he's got to sneak through that space, he raises up to slip through. Even if he doesn't get through, he never dies on that screen. And this goes back to recovery. He may get hit by that screen, but he's always finding himself back in the play. Part of how he does this is by finding different movement solutions to escape these screens. Because getting directly through it may not always work best, so he'll spin around it sometimes. Or he'll go under and take a perfect angle. And this takes real footwork. Now again, keep in mind that all of this is just 1% of what makes him so great on this side of the court, but I thought it would be good to give you guys a couple of these tools to go and apply into your game. For more like this, make sure to follow me on Instagram at ByAnyMeansBasketball, and stay tuned for a lot more on here as well. Thanks for tuning in.